the last lesson, we discussed the relationships of the places in a base 10 system on the place value chart. So let's take a quick look at that. We talked about how if we go from 1 to 10, it's times 10. 10 to 100, it's times 100, times 10. From 100 to 1,000, again, times 10. If we were to go the opposite direction and to reduce our numbers, we're dividing. So we have 1,000 divided by 10 is 100. 100 divided by 10 is 10. 10 divided by 10 is 1. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put digits and put some values on our place value chart. And we're going to see what happens to those digits as we multiply and divide by 10, 100, and 1,000. So we'll label our notes if you're taking notes with me, so you can have them after the video. We will label this moving the value of a digit or sets of digits underneath that. Let's be clear. Let's put here times 10 divided by 10 times 100 divided by 100 times 1,000 divided by 1,000. To start, we're just going to actually do this on our chart. Then we're going to talk about a little bit of the why and take it from our chart to our pen and paper. So let's start with the number 72 thousandths. So when we put 72 thousandths on the chart, we put the 7, 2. Now I said 72 thousandths. That means, notice what I had to do. I got my 7 and my 2 in my parts place. But I have to line up the 2 with the thousandths because that's where my number, that's the name I said, so that's where it ends. So I have 72 thousandths, but my decimal point is over here. So that means I need to put my 0 value in my tenths place. So this is 72 thousandths. If I was to multiply 72 thousandths by 10, remember, multiplying by 10, we are moving everything this direction, times 10, one place. So this is going to have to move this way, times 10, one place. And from the tenths to get to the ones, we have to again do times 10. So as we move our digits, that means every single one. The 0 tenths times 10 is 0 ones. We have our 7 hundredths times 10 is 7 tenths. Our 2 thousandths times 10 makes it 2 hundredths, following the patterns on the place value chart. So now the number we have here is 72 hundredths. So we're going to do that again. We're going to take our 72 hundredths, but this time I'm going to write it in my notes as we do it, so you can see what it would look like in our notes. What we have here is we have our ones. Let's make our chart. Here's my decimal point. I have my ones over here, and I have a value of 0 there. Put my decimal point. Here I have my tenths, and I have the value of 7. And here I have my hundredths. And it has the value of 2. So this time, when we take, and I'm going to write the equation out to the side, when we take 72 hundredths times 10, this times 10 means every digit moves one place to the left. So I'm going to take, the 0 is not needed. I have no whole numbers. I don't actually need to show no whole numbers. So let's make it a little bit easier by not putting in a 0, that it doesn't change the value of the number. Now I'm going to repeat that. We're taking out the 0 because it does not change the value of the number. So now, we said 72 hundredths times 10. So we're taking each digit and moving it one place. Now, you'll notice on my notes what I'm doing is I'm giving you a hint. There are hints inside of your numbers. This 0, there's 1 0 and 10. I'm going to move them one place. So I move the 7 one place. That is 7 tenths times 10 is 7 ones. Now I take my 2 hundredths times 10 becomes 2 tenths. So what we did, let's come back over to our notes where I'm hoping you're taking notes with me. And let's use arrows to show what I did with my number tiles. What I did is I took the 7 and I moved it over here to 7 ones. I took the 2 hundredths and I moved it times 10, that was my function, here to my tenths. We bring our decimal point down, which is the ands. So now what I have is 7 and 2 tenths. So what we have is 72 hundredths, that's what we started with, times 10 equals 7 and 2 tenths. Moving each digit one place to the left. Okay, let's take another look at a similar problem. Let's say I took these, we're going to go back, let's reset our problem to 72 hundredths. And let's say I took these 72 hundredths and I multiplied times 100. Well, we need a little thought bubble here. What we need to think before we begin, right here, is that 100 equals 10 times 10. So that means I'm going to do the 10 times 10 twice. Notice 100 has 2 zeros. It's right here. So that's your hint right here that it's going to move 2 places. So let's watch this and how it's actually done and why it works. Why is it times 10 times 10? Why is it moving 2 places on the place value chart? So instead of rewriting this place value chart, I'm just going to draw up a little box around this equation in the middle. And then I'm going to continue these lines down in my notes because I would like you to take notes with me so that you have what we're doing written, even as I do it first with the number tiles. So here we come back to the 72 hundredths. Here's my decimal point, 72. I say hundredths because it ends in the hundredths place. We must read our numbers properly in order to write them and work with them. So we're now going to multiply that times 100. So here is times 10. I move the 7 times 10. The 7 has to move one more time because 10 times 10 is 100. So let me do that again and say it a different way. Here we have 7 tenths times 100, 2 places. So 7 tenths times 100 is 7 tens. Let's take our 2 hundredths. 2 hundredths times 100. 100 is 10 times 10. So 10 times 10. I have to move it 2 places. 1, 2. So 72 hundredths times 100 is 72. Let's go ahead and show that in our notes now. So we started with our 72 hundredths. In order to multiply that times 100, so out here I'm going to write we already wrote what we're doing, times 100. We said we have to move this 2 places. So I need one more place in my notes, on my chart. So let's put tens. So now what we're going to do is move the 7 1 place, 2 places. And the 7 tenths times 100 is 7 tenths. Now we're going to take the 2 and we're going to move it 2 places, because remember, let's come back to our thought bubble. Let's not forget, we have 100 equals 10 times 10. So times 10 times 10 moves 2 places, and I write my 2. Now with whole numbers, we don't have to put the decimal in. And this has become a whole number. So my answer is 72. So let's go ahead and write our equation underneath that. 72 hundredths times 100. Now I'm going to underline those 2 zeros because it needs to move 2 places. So our digits are moving 2 places greater because I'm multiplying by 100. So that gave me 72. Let's put a box around that. Okay, so now we've talked about multiplying, moving our digits to the left when we're multiplying. So now we need to talk about moving our digits to the right. So when would we move our digits the other direction? That's right, when you divide. Hopefully you guys all guessed that. Let's go to the next page where we don't have ink that bled through. Okay, so let's take a new example for this. We're going to take our place value chart back, sorry. Little gap time there, little thought time. Okay, I know you guys all need it just like me. So we're going to build a number, and our number is going to be 600, let's see, let me think through this. 628. So we're going to start with 628, and we're going to divide it by 10. I'm going to go ahead and change colors just so at the top of the chart, it's very easy for you to see the difference. Let's see, blue is my favorite color. Let's go find a blue. Okay, so what we have to remember on our chart is when we move this direction, we are dividing by 10. So each place we move over is divide by 10. Divide by 10. So that's why division is the inverse operation to multiplication, because it is going the opposite direction. Reverse, inverse. Just a way to remember that term. Okay, so what we said we were going to do is we're going to divide by 10. Well, I have the 8 and the 1's place. So to go 1 place, divide by 10, my 8 is going to move to the 10th place. 8 divided by 10 is 8 tenths. Sorry about that. Okay, next, 2. 2 divided by 10, 20, this is 20, sorry. 20 divided by 10 is 2. Come to the 6. This value of the 6 is 600. That's what I was thinking on the last one. The value of the 6 is 600. 600 divided by 10 is 60. So it moves 1 place. So what I'd like to do with this, and our answer here is 62 and 8 tenths. So we have done it moving our digits on the place value chart here. what I would like to do here is we're going to write some of what I just said. So we have 628. This is the number we started with. And we want to divide 628 by 10. So here's our place value chart. We have our hundreds, tens, ones. We don't need a big gap for our decimal point. That's our and. This is where we switch from the whole numbers to the parts. Tenths, and hundredths. So we have 628. What this looks like here is I am going to divide by 10, which moves it one place. Divide by 10 moves the digit one place. Put my decimal point in. Divide by 10 moves the digit one place. In the next video, we will be getting into more examples of this and getting in a little deeper. But at 16 minutes and 30 seconds, we're going to take a break.